Hey guys, welcome to Digit.in, and what we have with us is the TCL QLED TV. Now QLED is a technology mostly associated with Samsung's flagship TVs. However, we have seen it being used on other TVs. This TCL TV is one example. Now of course the differences between LED backlit LCDs and QLEDs and OLEDs is something we will do in another video in the future. However, for today we are going to review this TV. It is priced at about 1,10,000 rupees, and let's get the bottom line out of the way first. The sad thing, at least for us, is because companies like Sony, Samsung and LG have a lot of TVs priced between 80,000-90,000 rupees to 1,10,000, 1,20,000, 1,30,000 rupees. We actually haven't reviewed any of them this year, and it's really going to be tough for us to tell you what alternatives you can pick for this TV in this price range because we really haven't had a chance to review them. So think about it this way. If you want a TV which is boasting of some really good new technology like QLED, it is a very bright panel, especially when you're going to watch your set-top box content or 1080p content. The 4K content does look good, however, it does suffer with a little bit of darkness, especially in some of the test scenes that we have used. And the biggest downside to this TV is that the user interface is really laggy. I mean, we are going to show you a little bit of footage right now. We are trying to navigate the settings as fast as possible. However, it just gets really frustrating. So keeping these things in mind, let's deep dive into the review of the TCL QLED TV. Now, kicking things off with the build and design, it has a metal frame. Actually, if you put a label or hide the branding and put this next to the iFalcon TV we recently reviewed, you wouldn't be able to tell which is which. And that is of course because both the TVs are manufactured by TCL. iFalcon is TCL sub-brand which they sell online. So yeah, the build is quite similar. This TV isn't the slimmest, but that's okay. It has a really nice frame all around it that is strong. When it comes to connectivity options, it has 3 HDMI inputs, 2 USB inputs, and of course the standard set of ports like Ethernet and 3.5mm audio out, things like that. You can see at the bottom also, just like the iFalcon, it has the same soundbar setup for the speaker. However, what's different is this stand. It is this rectangular stand which sits in the middle, so you really don't need to have a wide table to house this big TV, which is a 65-inch TV. So when it comes to the build of the TV, it is actually pretty good. Now coming to the performance, let's start with just the 1080p and normal 4K content that isn't HDR. It looks bright, it looks vivid. I mean, play a really nice colorful video from YouTube and you will actually be taken aback as to how nice and bright this TV can get, which is really good. The colors look deep and nice. If you're going to watch a movie like Spider-Man Homecoming or Wonder Woman in Spider-Man, you have the really nice reds and blues popping out from his outfit. Even in dark scenes in that movie, the details in the action sequences are really quite visible. Even in a film like Wonder Woman, which has this slightly dimmer tone to it, the colors of Wonder Woman's costume, the way she performs when she actually reveals herself in her costume for the first time, looks really nice. Now when we move to 4K HDR content, there are sequences where this TV looks absolutely amazing, and there are some sequences where it just looks a little darker than we'd like. And of course, when we say darker than we'd like, if you've been watching our TV reviews, you know that we're talking about Daredevil Season 2 Episode 3 staircase fight sequence, which does look darker than we've seen on other TVs that boast of HDR capabilities. Star Trek Discovery is another good example of watching HDR content with a lot of brights and darks in the same sequence, and that looks good. It isn't the best we've seen when it comes to HDR implementation, but it is good. That's just a great way to define it. When it comes to gaming, now a game like Doom looks really good. From the outdoor Mars environment, which is supposed to be this dusty orangish color, it just nails that environment really quite well, along with the indoor environments, which are sometimes slightly dark, sometimes gritty, sometimes techy, with a lot of your enemies on screen, the enemies glowing when you get a certain amount of damage done to them, things like that. So in gaming also, when you have a 4K capable console, you are going to enjoy it. However, in a game like Forza Horizon, again on some other TVs we've seen that a game like Forza Horizon, which exploits HDR capabilities, is slightly dimmer than we'd like to see on this TV. We tried it in two situations. We made the room completely dark as it was possible to see if that would affect it, but the slighted mutedness of the colors were slightly muted, the colors were slightly dimmer, and it didn't really bring out that super vibrant feel which comes with HDR, which surprisingly comes when you are watching non-HDR content on this TV. So that's something to consider. We did tweak around with the settings quite a bit to see if we could get it to that perfect level. And because the settings just lag so much, it was a problem. So moving on to the user interface, Again, iFalcon and this TCL TV are both made by TCL. In the TCL TV, we had a problem with the voice controls, whereas on this TV, the voice controls ran perfectly, but the UI is just really, really laggy. I mean, when you're on the Android home screen, things are fine, but when you deep dive into things like settings, especially when you're playing 4K content on the screen, then it can get a little laggy, the UI. So that is something to keep in mind, that the UI can really get a little frustrating. Moving to sound, again, it's a similar setup of the soundbar that we have seen at the bottom of this TV that we saw on the iFalcon TV, and its performance is the same. It's got good representation of audios. You will enjoy a game like Doom with its rock background, but you will miss the thump of the shotgun when you actually use it in the game with a desire to have bass. So if you can hook up a subwoofer to this TV, somehow you are good to go, or you could always just get a soundbar setup if you want. But for everyday TV viewing, watching a couple of movies, watching even a couple of TV shows, your regular set-top box content consumption, the speakers on this TV are good. They're also front firing, which means they're facing you, which is also an added advantage. So again, to conclude, like we started in the beginning, oh wait, hang on. These remote controls, they're exactly the same that we saw on the iFalcon TV. Same problem, mute button too high. Prefer the smaller remote. I mean, we could just link to our review of the iFalcon TV in the descriptor below, so you guys can check out the details of the remote, because they're identical, right? So yeah, I mean, to conclude, you are going to spend 1 lakh of rupees on this TV. You are getting a 65-inch panel in this case. It's running on QLED technology. It's not an LED backlit IPS display like we've seen on other traditional TVs. It has QLED backlighting, which is essentially a film of QLED on top of LEDs. Like we said, we can get into this technology in another video, but know this, that you get a really bright display. You're getting a 65-inch display for 1,10,000 rupees. And you are getting things like the Google Play Store, because this is running on Android TV, but sadly there is no Prime videos built in to the Google Play Store, accessible via the Google Play Store or built into this TV. So that is a downside, and some HDR performance we wish it were better. But apart from that, from watching standard 4K content, watching 1080p content, watching your set-top box content, and even listening to the audio from the speakers is actually a pretty good experience. So there you have it, guys. That was our review of the TCL 65-inch QLED TV. As always, you can let us know what you thought of this review in the comment section below. And for more videos like this one, you can subscribe to our channel. We will catch you in another video. It's goodbye for now.
For the latest technology updates, subscribe to Digit.in and don't forget to hit the bell icon.